Hello, everybody, and welcome in on this Wednesday morning. Brooks Baptiste here checking in from the First Alert Desk. Of course, we've got some stories that we are watching for you at this hour. The big story, not just here locally, but across our country right now regarding the protests that are happening regarding President Trump's and his administration's immigration policies. We have seen things that have been peaceful. We've also seen things start as a peaceful protest and then now turn into more chaos. Atlanta News First, Sarah Hammond reports from the field office with more on what's happening here in Atlanta.
The protest here yesterday remained peaceful, no arrests reported, and organizers say they plan to rally again this afternoon along Buford Highway. The protesters here condemning the recent arrests of undocumented immigrants across metro Atlanta and nationwide, and we've seen ICE operations take place here. 12 were arrested at a Marietta nail salon last week, and Cherokee County Democrats are condemning a raid they say happened in the Sunnyside neighborhood on Saturday. And looking back to earlier this year, Governor Brian Kemp requested ICE train all 1,100 state troopers to better assist ICE's operations. Protesters say they do not agree with President Trump's immigration agenda, but ICE and Homeland Security agents in Atlanta say they are following orders and the law.
The only way we're going to get change, the only way we're going to get answers, the only way we're going to see a difference is to unite as one.
It is our mandate to enforce the immigration laws as they fit on the books.
That rally today is happening at 6:30 p.m. in Brookhaven along Buford Highway. At the ICE field offices in Atlanta, Sarah Hammond for Atlanta News First.
All right, that was Sarah Hammond reporting there for us. Of course, we're going to be staying on top of that story because, we are seeing those protests happen from coast to coast. LA being a lot of pretty much the start of where we started to see a lot of it, but now it seems like it's hitting all of the different big cities, even some smaller cities. So as we learn more, we will be sure to update you. Another story that we're watching at this hour is the story about the trial that is set to resume this morning of a father who was accused of killing a 4-year-old. We do want to warn you that these details in this story are a bit disturbing, but Atlanta News First Blake Devine reports from the Fulton County Courthouse where a key witness is expected to take the stand.
This is an unprecedented move, which is why former CDC employees and local leaders will gather here a little later today as they are sounding the alarm on what they're calling a political attack on public health. Monday, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. fired his entire 17-member vaccine advisory panel, announcing this unprecedented move in an op-ed article published within the Wall Street Journal. RFK Jr. said the panel, which recommends vaccines for diseases such as COVID-19, the flu, and HPV, is, quote, plagued with conflicts of interest, and this sweeping decision is leaving many medical leaders in shock.
This entire process is being injected with ideology in a way that will compromise trust in public health.
The Vaccine Advisory Panel was scheduled to vote later this month on recommendations for vaccines against COVID-19 and other infectious diseases. Today's rally will take place at 2 o'clock as they will also be speaking up against proposed budget cuts for the CDC. Reporting in DeKalb County, Blake Devine, Atlanta News First.
All right, that was Blake Devine reported there for us. Obviously, one of the big things as we are now into the summer months, people looking forward to 4th of July, people looking to some of the celebrations that are going to be happening, but so much has changed the past few years. Avondale Estates is saying that it is not going to be hosting a fireworks show this year. Now, let's get you caught up on what's happening here because it appears the reason that they're not doing it is because they had a couple of issues last year that led them to not being able to find a safe place for those fireworks to take off and shoot off from. So this announcement comes after last year's show actually ended with fireworks hitting a transformer and power lines. Avondale Estates says that it does plan to still host its 4th of July parade. So the parade is still on, but the fireworks, not so much. And while we're on the topic of some of the things that are going to be happening in and around Atlanta, let's take you to Juneteenth. There's going to be the Juneteenth Atlanta Parade and Festival that is happening this Saturday. I plan to be out there. A lot of the crew plans to be out there. It is sure to be an incredible time. Now, one of the things that I want to make sure you are in the know about is the parade route and whatnot. A lot of that stuff has been updated, but The bottom line is, it is going to start in downtown Atlanta. It's going to make its way to Midtown, and there's this big, huge festival that is there as well. So right now, you can see just some of the footage from the previous Juneteenth Atlanta parade, and oh boy, do we have a time every time we're out there. It is always so much fun. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens is the Grand Marshal of the parade this year. He actually got a chance to catch up with our Atlanta News First anchor, Blair Miller, regarding what he's most excited about. You can watch that full interview right now on AtlantaNewsFirst.com and on the free Atlanta News First app. Well, let's talk about your weather. And you know what? I like to focus on what's happening today, because there are some first alert weather days in the forecast. But if Courtney Jacobazzi would just let us be great for just the rest of the day, and I think she will be, because when we take a live look outside, this is actually quite nice. Already warm out there, but no rain in the forecast today. It's the break we've needed, but it won't last long, Courtney.
This is your belated birthday present, Brooks.
Thank you
because
so much.
we didn't get to give you nice weather on your actual birthday. Might as well give it a couple days late. All right, so yeah, beautiful view outside over Midtown and downtown. There you can see the Benz off in the distance. I don't know who turned the camera this way, but it looks really cool. I like this vantage point. Really nice to see the whole city there. Either way, we have some fair weather cumulus clouds rolling around in the sky, and lots of blue underneath it, and that's good news. We haven't seen that in quite a while. At least that's what it feels like, at least. But unfortunately, while today looks nice for the most part, we do have two first alert weather days that we have to let you know about for Friday and Saturday as we go back into this stormy pattern yet again. Daily storms will return. Most widespread coverage right now on Friday and Saturday, and of course we know a lot of you probably are looking forward to the weekend, and you have plans Friday night and Saturday afternoon, so we just want to go ahead and give you the heads up that you'll probably want to start thinking of a backup plan, or at least have kind of in the back of your mind where you could go to get inside to avoid any storms that do develop over the next couple of days, especially Friday and Saturday. For today, we're mostly dry. That 20% chance for rain is mainly from Atlanta to the south, along and south of I-20. Isolated storm possible in the heat of the day between about 2 and 6, 7 o'clock. Otherwise, it's going to be a pretty hot day with temperatures in the mid to upper 80s throughout the entire afternoon. So if you have any plans with the kids to get outside today, just make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Wear that sunscreen. Very important. It's important all the time, but especially in the summer months when those sun angles get really high. 9 o'clock, we're still at 80 degrees, and then we'll drop into the low 70s overnight. Just to kind of give you a visual representation of where we're expecting most of the rain, it's mainly along and south of I-20, so where you see that green shaded area, an isolated storm possible, dry up in the mountains, and in fact, not only just dry rainfall-wise, but humidity-wise. It's going to be very comfortable up in the mountains today. So this afternoon, you can see that green color up in LJ, Helen, all the way in the northern tier of the state. That's indicating some more comfortable air, not super muggy, but look at south of I-20, closer to that front's trapping in moisture. It is going to be soupy out there south of I-20 today, not necessarily super comfortable. Unfortunately, this is going to be a brief break. The lower humidity, the drier day, all of it will be very brief. Tomorrow, that front starts to relift north. That humidity comes ushering back in. It is going to be muggy throughout the day tomorrow. And with that humidity in place, that moisture, that's going to put us into a summer-like pattern. If you've lived here for even one summer, you know exactly what I mean. It's hot, humid with storms between the hours of like 2 and 7 p.m. That's exactly what we're going to experience tomorrow. And that high humidity continues into Friday with that moisture really streaming in Friday. That's going to give us a really unsettled day with scattered showers and storms pretty likely. In fact, that coverage of rain at 60% on Friday and Saturday, that could very well go up. Tomorrow, scattered storms are possible. That coverage at about 40%, but it could impact your evening commute. But again, Friday and Saturday looking fairly wet with a lot going on between Juneteenth. Of course, we always have lots of farmers markets going on. We have the Braves in town, all the things. We wanted to give you those first alert weather days to give you that heads up. And then Sunday for Father's Day, unsettled but not a washout. So if you had plans to maybe go hit some golf balls with Dad on Sunday, or you wanted to go to brunch with Dad on Sunday, just know that you'll want to keep your eyes to the skies. First alert weather app will be a great tool to have, especially going into the summer months. You'll want to have that handy. It'll let you know if lightning's in your area, rain's in your area. Just a really good tool as we get stuck in this pattern because more than likely it's going to stick around for a while. So let's take you through hour by hour everything you need to know with First Alert Futurecast here. We gave you the general rundown. Now we're going to take you through each day. 5 o'clock tonight, Again, mainly along and south of I-20 is where we'll look for a few scattered showers and storms. So from LaGrange to Eatonton, over into Griffin. And I don't think we can completely rule out an isolated storm over the city of Atlanta either for that evening commute. Not expecting severe weather today, but any storms that develop, just because we'll have so much moisture and energy, could have some heavy rain, frequent lightning, and gusty wind. And that'll be the sentiment for all of our afternoon storms the next couple of days. Not looking at an organized severe threat, but definitely a storm that could carry some heavy rain, gusty wind, and frequent lightning just because of the energy and the moisture that'll be out there. 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, scattered storms will be possible for the evening commute, so just take your time if you run into that heading home from work on Thursday. And then Friday will start mostly dry, maybe some patchy fog in the morning, and then by 1 o'clock we're looking at scattered storms that'll start to develop across Metro and then stay widespread through your evening into Friday night. So here's a look at 7 o'clock. If you had plans to go to Truist Park to see the Braves play, I don't think it's going to necessarily be a canceled game, but no doubt going to have a rain delay at some point, more than likely on Friday night. Through Sunday, we're looking to pick up maybe between about 1 inch to 2 inches of rain. So this just kind of goes to show you we're going to stay very unsettled going into the upcoming weekend with rain chances every day. We're not going to worry about flash flooding or anything like that, but definitely picking up some good rain between now and Sunday with those daily chances for rain and storms. The best news, I think, even though our forecast stays unsettled, as I mentioned, doesn't look like we're going to have quite the severe threat that we had with our last forecast pattern that we were in, that stormy forecast pattern. These aren't going to be those impulses of energy that move through really quick and kind of act like mini cold fronts and bring us the severe weather. These are going to be what we call pulse thunderstorms. They develop in the heat of the day. They kind of rain themselves out, and then we call it a day. But the bad news about that is sometimes they can sit over you for quite some time. So just, again, if you have outdoor plans through the weekend, just make sure you're thinking maybe a backup indoor plan or somewhere where you can move inside until those storms roll on past you. Here's a look at that First Alert 7-day forecast. So 20% coverage of showers and storms today, 40% tomorrow, some more scattered today, mainly along and south of I-20. By the way, most of us are dry. Enjoy it. And then going into the weekend, Friday and Saturday, scattered storms will be likely, especially for the afternoon and evening. That could very well impact the Braves game, Juneteenth parade, all the things over the weekend. And then Father's Day Sunday, not a washout, but in the afternoon, more scattered storms will develop, and we're going to hold on to that same song and dance into the start of next week. Keep the umbrella handy, keep the raincoat handy, the First Alert weather app handy. All good things will keep you prepared for this upcoming week once we kick off that next unsettled pattern that will start tomorrow. All right, everyone, we appreciate you spending some time with us here on Atlanta News First Plus. Make sure to, again, have that First Alert weather app handy, Atlanta News First app handy. It'll give you all the latest news and weather right to your phone. We hope you make it a great day.